So while we're on this multiple mic technique, I must explain that these signals, the way we're doing this, I'm not looking for a stereo effect. It's to blend two things to make one sound have a big tonal range. So it's not, it's not like you don't have your 57 left and your 414 right. It's not really about that. I mean, if you're going to do a stereo guitar technique, you'd probably be looking at room mics, which I'm not a big fan of, because it comes to the mix and they tend to be sort of fairly useless, I find, sending a tiny bit of the close mics to a little bit of reverb has far more control and dynamics, but that's just my personal thing, Saying that, a microphone in the corridor capturing a lot of, the length of the guitar, can be really interesting. So, another technique, if you really like the sound of the 57 up close, but you want to capture a much sort of fuller sound of what it sounds like being back from the amp a bit, is to move the second mic back, say, by, I don't know, a foot or so, pointing the mic sort of, if you look, see with a 414 or any sort of large diaphragm microphone, you can kind of look through the capsule, look through the mesh and see the capsule and kind of like see where it's pointing, if I'm here, it's really hard to see where it's pointing, but if you look through, you can kind of see. So we're aiming at the speaker still. So now, as I said before, this, this could throw up all sorts of problems with phase because of the distance of the two microphones. But a technique that you can use, that our good friend Dave Ehringer uses a lot, is you can actually physically in your workstation move this microphone to the same distance as this. Again, blending it to a mono signal. You're not looking for stereo anything here. So what you're doing there is, as we explained before, you're to physically achieve this, you'd have this microphone here, but then your 57 is not gonna, you're not gonna be using the sort of proximity effect that you get when you stick a 57 right against the grill, and you get that lovely bite and power that the 57 gives you. So we'll leave that there, and then what you can do is put a time adjuster on this microphone and move it back to this microphone. And this is quite easy. You can do it with a signal generator, or you can do it with just a hit on the guitar, and you'll be able to see the waveform in the workstation. And what it should be is your 57 will be here, your 414 will be here. So what you're doing is you're then saying that I'm going to move my 57 back so that the waveforms align, and that will give you, in theory, the microphones will be thinking they're exactly the same distance from the speaker, and we'll have a look at that in the control room. It's the same theory as the white noising, in that you're going for equidistance from the source, so as to not have any sort of like cancellations, and it's exactly the same theory as this microphone being here or this microphone being here. You're just putting them together. Okay, now we've done the clean Marshall with a sort of standard mic setup, i.e. with a 414 and a 57 equidistant from each speaker. We've done the white noise on the orange stack on the Forma 12. And now we're going to go back to the combo, and I'll do a slightly different technique, which is using a time adjuster to make the microphones equidistant, but what you're doing in effect is having one close and one far away. So then we're going to use a time adjuster to move the nearest microphone back to where the further microphone is. And what the further microphone does is it captures a little bit more of a sort of natural guitar sound. You can imagine what the speaker sounds like with the diaphragm so close to it. It's going to be very noisy, and you tend to get a little bit more depth in the tone with a microphone further back. So what I'm going to do this time, rather than play the part in, I'll use the DI that we captured when we played the clean Marshall part earlier. But and how I do this I send a signal generator. You can even do this with a guitar lead, pulling it in and out, but basically what we're trying to do is create a waveform so you can see how far away the second microphone is. So what we're going to do is use a signal generator. I've set it to about 500 hertz because it's a nice sort of, it's giving us a nice click to the amp so we can see it. Now something you must do in Pro Tools is not use the mute button like this, because as you can see it gives you a soft start to the signal, which what you're after is like a nice click or a transient, you know? So you can hear that puts like a nice brap in there. So as you can see here, what we've got is the guitar DI track here. I've just duplicated that so we can keep this one. So and what we'll do is we're sending the reamp. It's going to channel 26 here, and channel 26 is going to the amp, you know, via the reamp. So, okay, these are our microphones that are on the amp. I've moved this mic here, the 414, back. You know, as you could see from earlier, I've moved it back about, you know, a foot, maybe a little bit more. What we'll do is put this into record. Okay. And then using the tab to transient function in Pro Tools, which is done by selecting this here. You can see that there. You just select that on. And what we're going to do is tab like that. Now you can see clearly there that the second waveform is quite a bit further back than the first waveform, from the null point that is. So there's the null point of the first one, and there's the null point of the second one. Now what I do now is you go here, click on samples, and then here in the box here tells you 61 samples. So what we're going to do is substitute this for a delay, time adjuster. We'll copy that onto there. So we're going to now make the 57 61 samples. Okay, and we're going to record. We should have a nice guitar sound. So as you can hear, it's a nice tone. It sounds maybe a little more realistic than this one. I mean, this is the old one we recorded. Well, we'd have to take the time adjusters off. The new one with the time adjusters on. Taking the time adjuster off, you can hear it goes sort of horrible and honky, you know? That kind of like sounds like what it sounds like when your mic's in the wrong place. 414 on its own. So much warmer than it was before, as you can hear. This is the 414 before. More sort of low end overtones, more harmonics in the bottom end. So our new sound, our old sound. So they both achieve very similar results, but you know what you're getting is you know, a little more attack from the one with the two closer mics, and at the end of the day, this theory is identical to this one, because what you're doing is you're saying that the microphones are equidistant from the speakers. So either of these techniques is a good way to get a good sound together, you know. And then the white noising being another technique again, you know, where the principle is the same. You're finding the optimum place on the speaker and the optimum distance between the two microphones are. Like, I mean, as you can see with those plugins off, this sound here is pretty awful, you know. So. So there we go. That's the time adjusted guitar sound.